Good afternoon from Clark Gardens. It is February, maybe the 12th, and it's time to prune roses. And you're saying, prune roses? We could get another freeze. You're right, but that's okay. The roses don't care. Now, I wouldn't be pruning roses today if I hadn't looked to see that in the next 10 days, we're not going to have a freeze. It's going to be relatively warm days. So if we saw that we were going to have what we had a couple of weeks ago, we would postpone it. But in Texas, in North Texas, we prune roses and advise you to prune roses around Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is just to help you remember people get roses for Valentine's. Well, we're going to take care of our roses for Valentine's. What we do, we have so many roses that it's a real deal to try to get them all pruned in roughly the same couple of weeks. We do this hard prune now, and then we'll do a lighter prune in the summer, but that really is pretty stressful, so we're pretty careful what we do there. But we also, when we deadhead during the growing season, we can aggressively deadhead to keep the roses in the right shape that we want. But these haven't been touched since last summer. Well, that's not true. We deadheaded, which is a light prune for us, every week. And so, but since the weddings ended about Thanksgiving, we haven't done anything. So they look kind of pitiful. But the first thing I want you to know is that if you have a number of rose bushes like we do, it's easiest if you'll grab a rope or a string. I did zip ties. That's probably not very economical. So it just helps you start cutting things down easier. So by the time we finish with this rose in this bed, we will have 2 or 3 bushes, and they will be between 18 and 24 inches tall and only 3 to 5 canes coming out. So that's a really hard concept. I've had volunteers out here that swore I was a rose killer, but this really does work. So the first thing I do is tie on these big rose bushes. I tie a rope, and like I said, today is a zip tie. That's not very user-friendly because you can't reuse them. And then I would always cover up as much as you can. Roses can be mean. Some are more thorny than others, but today I have on long sleeves. I definitely have sunglasses on, or you could wear safety glasses, because these suckers can really get into your they can cause bodily harm. So bundle up, wear long pants, wear long sleeves, and wear eye coverings. And so I'm just going to take this right here, and I'm not going to care yet what I'm cutting. This just helps me go around and cut quicker. If you had big loppers, you could use big loppers here, but I'm just going to go around this circle, not caring really what I cut, because I know I'm going to make it shorter than this. And I'm just getting rid of all this tall stuff. Now, if you have just a couple, you can do this a rose at a bush at a time. But we have so many that we've come up with this is the most efficient way to cut. And every rose bush that we have, except the miniature ones, will be cut at 18 to 24 inches. No matter how tall they've grown over the winter or growing season, we will have cut these down. And if you see, I'm just not paying any attention to what I'm cutting. I'm not cutting at the appropriate spots. I'm just getting rid of as many of the canes so I can see what's here, because right now I can't really see. You remember, we're going to end up with 3 to 5 canes. So I want to be able to pick the best canes I can. Loppers really work better than my bypass pruners. I just brought loppers with me today. And I'm just throwing this over to the side. I'm going to go in here in the center, and I'm going to cut away. This isn't a real thorny rose, but by tying this rope around them, it kind of gives you a way to grab and throw without getting so beat up. Trust me, I've even had one of these land in my head one time and stick in my head. I think I was mad at that rose that day. So I'm just kind of looking for what's still taller than my zip ties. Throwing this aside because you don't want to sit on it. You don't want the leaves to stay in the soil, and we'll talk about that later, why. And so there, I've gone from probably a 3 to 4 foot rose to something more manageable. And then I'm going to disconnect the zip tie, which you could reuse, and start looking at what 3 to 5 stems I want. Most important thing that you want to do at this point is to get this inner portion of the roots to be in the sun. So we're going to cut out anything that's in the middle. So even though this is like a little green one, he's right smack dab in the middle, I'm going to cut him. And then if you've got some really old canes like this one, I'm going to cut it. And so I'm just going to go all the way around this rose, and we'll come back and show you what I've left. But this is another good example of what you want to cut out. But actually these bypass pruners probably not going to do a real good job on that. But we'll come back and we'll show you a little bit more of what we